Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, January 5th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Well, what an exciting morning we've set ourselves up here. Wow. All right, well, what are we looking at here in the market? Well, we've been stuck in what we call a balance area for a couple weeks now. A balance area is just basically a range where the market is stuck bouncing up and down between it. And for our particular balance area, we have this magnet, which is this very large node that you see of cumulative volume right here around 3864. And that magnet is like glue. We are just stuck to it. Every attempt that we make to break away, it just keeps coming back again and again. More time, more volume, more time, more volume. So the market just isn't ready to break away from this level just yet. So we have to continue to trade this as balance. Trading it as balance tells us that if we went up and tested the balance area high yesterday in the regular trading hours, and the overnight started the process of pulling the market back down, that the most likely outcome today is that the market will at least try, to continue lower and test that opposite end of balance down there. Okay, so that's sort of the first scenario that I'm watching as the most likely scenario, that the market's going to test yesterday's low and see if it can head lower, and then probably find support in here the way it has over and over again, and then turn around and head right back up. But we'll obviously monitor for continuation lower from there. So what's the other scenarios? If that's the most likely, what are the second and third most likely scenarios? Well, the second most likely is just continued balance. Right? More of what we got in the overnight last night and the night before and yesterday in the trade that we had yesterday. All of that was basically just balance. So we could get more. We could just get more sideways all day long. And then scenario number 3, we could work our way all the way back up to yesterday's high and then try to break out of this balance area. Right? We could try to go higher today and see what the market is going to, see how far the market can get. To me, that is the least likely scenario. The most likely scenario is a test of the balance area low. Second most likely is sideways rotation. And the least likely is a move higher. How will we know which of these is happening? Well, let's walk on through. So the first thing we're looking for inside the overnight range, we're looking for chop. So the market early on in the morning here is likely to just do a lot of grinding up and down and up and down and up and down. And the first question that we're asking ourselves is, can they get below this overnight low, or can they get through this very large node from the overnight where they spent a lot of time and brought in a lot of volume? That's sort of our chop zone right there. In between those two areas, it will be impossible to guess where the market's going to go. It can go up and turn around and come right back down and just again and again and again, chop, 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 chop. And that's very likely to happen because this is that very large node, which we have been stuck like glue for a couple weeks too. So the idea of spending a bunch of time chopping around in there, market not knowing which way it wants to go, is very, very probable. But whatever happens when we get to either the overnight low or this large node of volume up here from the overnight, it'll give us some signals as to what potentially the market is trying to do. So if they're able to work their way up and get above that node, get through that resistance, come back down and turn it into support, we would look to test the overnight high. We would then do the same thing at the overnight high. If they get above that overnight high, can they find support? If so, we would look to test yesterday's high. And again, we would do the same thing. And then we would do it with the previous day's high, same thing. Then we would do it with the overnight high before that. Same thing. And if all that worked, baby, it's green lights for a breakout to the upside. But if we push down, which is what it looks like we're doing, to test the overnight low, and we push below the overnight low, it's the same exact thing. If we push below the overnight low, do we get resistance? If we do, we're looking to test yesterday's low, which is weak. Okay. If we repair that weak low, do we get more resistance? If so, we're looking to head to the opposite end of balance. So let's see how it plays out. Let the chop begin. So there you go. There's the test of the overnight low. So now the question becomes, do we just look below that overnight low and then fail, coming right back up, heading up there to test that resistance? Or do we get new selling down here that takes us down to yesterday's low? Let's find out. Scooball says there was some news in the overnight that made some moves. Do you mean like a sell-off at the end? Yeah, that's okay. It was still just rotating all night right on that big node. So to me, even if it was news, it is still heading to the opposite end. Like it's just doing its thing. So now we're getting new sellers below the overnight low, increasing the odds that we're going to head down and test yesterday's low at 38.36. All right, so now we have what we call a weak low. Double weak as can be, because the A period stopped exactly on yesterday's low. So that increases the odds. We need a little more downside continuation to get some excess. Once we get that continuation, we'll do the same thing we did at the overnight low. We will look for new sellers down there. Do they just poke below and come right back up? Or do they poke below and new sellers enter the market? Will we be surprised to see that it was an iceberg at the low? Oh, not quite. Actually, I just noticed A period high is also weak. Weakness on both sides of the market increases the odds of chop. A period high is weak because it only went one tick above the open, and it is all sellers. They did not get to fill the bid. Scooball or an iceberg that we can't see. There better not be. No. Damn it, I just got this software. Don't tell me there's something that can outthink this software, too. We've got 129 people hanging out, but only 36 likes. So apparently all of you want to walk the plank, huh? Gluttons for punishment, huh? Okay, I see you. All right, there is the repair of the week low and the test of yesterday's low, which is bearish to see. As Scooball pointed out, this is still just a continuation of the momentum from the overnight. And the ticks are still all the way down here at negative 1,000, which is often a signal the market is a little bit oversold. So if the buyers want to save the market now, they've got to turn this into a look below and fail of yesterday's range and start to bring us back up. If we get new sellers down here, if they can keep these ticks down, it is bearish for continuation lower. So right now we've got a good low, we've got good excess and good taper. And so the question is, do we get resistance? Do we get new sellers here that start pushing the market down? Ross B says, some of these market profile books were written years ago. Do you think they are still relevant in today's market? If so, any suggestions? Yes, I do. All right, we got new selling, ladies and gentlemen. Look at those ticks. Smushed them back down below 1,000. We got some bears taking control of this market. So I am bearish to test the lower end of balance. Which is going to be somewhere around the 38, 15 area. It's hard to know where exactly the market will find support, but it's heading down here looking for buyers in this area down here. That's where I think it's going. And we will just monitor for continuation. All right. So, Ross, I just put a link there in the comment section, and that'll take you to a blog that I wrote. And that's basically talking about Jim Dalton's books, Markets and Profile. Um, Mind Over Markets and Markets and Profile. And basically, there's some things in there that Jim Dalton himself, when I took courses with him a few years back, he himself said, this is a list of all the things that are no longer relevant. I wrote these books a long time ago, and just some things have changed. And so I put that list there in that blog post. So I would say, his books are a great starting point, and that will tell you which things he no longer considers relevant. I would just also say, in general, reading the market profile is really no different than like reading candlesticks. So like you wouldn't feel the least bit worried about reading a book from the 70s on candlestick patterns. They work exactly the same today as they always have. They don't work as well as they used to, but they still work the same. The same candlesticks still mean the same thing. And it's the same with market profile. Just understanding what the software is showing you will always be fundamentally the same, no matter what asset class you're trading, no matter what time frame, no matter when, whether it's today or 20 years from today. All right, so we've been warned. Incoming news. Bot attack. Major alert. I do still remain bearish for continuation to the opposite end. Danger. Will Robinson. Danger. Anthony says, opposite end approximately where? Anthony, I just went over that, brother. Could be anywhere. Could be anywhere down here. I just don't know. That's the thing about a balance area. When you've got a range that the market is bouncing up and down, the only real value that information gives you is that it's heading towards the opposite end. There's no way to know where those highs and lows will be, where it'll flip in reverse. So you just do what we call monitoring for continuation. You just see how far it can go. You just know it's heading in that direction because that's what it's doing, but you don't know how far. Colin, what about Anna Cooling's book? I actually own that and I haven't read it. It's a paperback, right? I think it's on Volume Profile. I bought it because I heard it was good, but I haven't looked at it. I have a lot of books that I've bought because I heard they were good and then I've never actually read them. It's the worst. Mike, if you're a member of the brigade, you can go into the Discord, and there's a download right there in the market profile settings. If you're not in the brigade, just email me at ahoy@piratetraders.io, and I'll email you the file. And you'll just have to trust me that I'm not going to send you a virus. All right. Well, what do we have here? We have buyers stepping in. We can see that on the ticks, trying to defend, trying to come back up. But they're not really getting much for it, are they? They keep buying and buying and buying, but the market's going nowhere. It's just kind of bouncing around right here. So what does that tell us? Well, a lot of these buyers are shorts from earlier who are just now taking profits. They're getting out of that. But there are not new buyers joining in to take the market higher. Getting the tick back to the zero line gives us a chance to see, do we have new buyers or sellers? If it gets smacked back down again, then we know the sellers are in control. And if they're able to get those ticks to stay above the zero line, then we know there are new buyers that are trying to push the market higher. Only the ticks can tell. Okay, so for now, those ticks are holding above the zero line. They got above there, and they are not getting smacked down, at least not yet. So that means we're probably going to test the resistance here at yesterday's low, 38.35, and look for sellers there. Look for that smackdown there. An hour a day trading? An hour a day trading? Boy, that sounds nice. I got to start doing that. What software is it? The software on the left is called Window Trader. It's market profile software. The software on the right is Thinkorswim. The top chart that you see is the advancers versus decliners, and the bottom chart is the ticks. All right. Well, these buyers, man, they've sure worked hard, haven't they? They've been fighting and fighting and fighting, trying to save this market, trying to get it back up into yesterday's range. Let's see if they get resistance. If they get smacked down again from here, if those ticks get smacked down again, will those buyers want to step in again? Or will they say, enough is enough? Let's find out. They've got a magnet pulling on price with that weak reference. Scooball says, but what if it's the balance area low on the bigger picture? Yeah, I mean, it could reverse, but you know how we'll know? It'll push back up into yesterday's range. The ticks will get above the zero line. They'll be able to keep the ticks above the zero line, and they'll be able to stay inside yesterday's range. They'll get through the half back. We'll look to see what happens when they test the overnight low. If they can get through that, well, then we know they're heading on up to that week high, and then we can start to say to ourselves, maybe that was the opposite end. But right now, my spidey senses tell me these buyers are fixing to get squeezed. The tough part about a balance area, the tough part about a range that you've been grinding in over and over and over again for so many days is sometimes you got to keep grinding to get through it. But you just stay focused on what's the direction it's going. And are the people who want it to go in that direction, in this case the sellers, are they still in charge? You can start to think the situation has changed when the market gives you signals. All right, so speaking of which, we're starting to get them, right? Ticks are staying above zero. Market got through the first resistance and the second. So now the market's starting to tell us maybe that was the low. So now we might have to test the next resistance and look for sellers there. I remain bearish. Nigel, is there any particular setting for the tick chart in Thinkorswim? And is that what I look for? Is the tick chart? Yeah. So it is $ TICK. I have it set in 15-minute increments. And I do have a plugin on there that I got from Shadow Trader. Hold on one second. I'll look up the thing. All right, testing the halfback once again. Watching those ticks. Moment of truth. Is it support or is it resistance? Do the ticks get smacked in the face once again? I'm not going to lie. That one had me sweating. That one had me sweating. Resistance holds. The ticks get smacked down once again. The sellers remain in charge of the market. All right, guys. Well, we're back inside yesterday's range, and the ticks are back above the zero line. This fight is not over. The battle continues. The buyers are poking at this resistance to see if they can get through. Boop. They did it. Ah, all right. Well, I was wrong. Sorry, guys. So begins the chop. So here we are again on our own, stuck in the middle of a ballot zone. Man, relentless. Okay, so the bots are going to keep playing games, and things are going to be very, very hard. Once again, now that we're back in this place where we're right in the middle of a balance area, that could have been the test of the opposite end. That means we're going to the other side. Ugh. And guessing where to put your entries, where to put your stops are going to be very difficult in the choppiness of this. So, what are the signposts we're looking for along the way? Well, they got back up into yesterday's range. Can they stay in yesterday's range? They got back up into the overnight range. Can they stay in the overnight range? They created a poor high. Can they repair the poor high? When they repair the poor high, can they bring in new buyers? We got to just keep waiting to see as they chop it up. What? This can't be real. Russia will declare a truce with Ukraine from midnight. Oh, it's just a 12-hour. Never mind. So it's like a ceasefire so they could exchange goods or something. Okay, great. Never mind. It's a nothing burger. Michael, January 7th is Russian Christmas. Oh, is it just like a ceasefire for Christmas? Isn't that sweet? It's cool. We're going to just stop attacking you and killing your innocent people. For Jesus. For 12 hours, I mean. For 12 hours. Sir Tobin. Solid joke. All right, so buyers were able to get back up in overnight range, increasing the odds. They're going to try to repair that poor high at 38.54. And we're going to treat that poor high, you guessed it. Is it a look above and fail? Or do they bring in new buyers and keep it going? It's not really a look above and fail. Is it a repair and then that's it? Or do they keep the momentum going? One Punch Panda. What's up, One Punch Panda? Says, is 38.60 the next resistance? Yeah, there. I mean, that big node, it's not even really support or resistance. It's a magnet, you know? It's just that's what's tugging at price. So again, as I've been mentioning all morning, the difficult thing about a zone like this is that they can literally find resistance anywhere. So when it comes to a balance area where you've spent this much time in here and there's so many levels, so many traders are watching, the best you can do is say to yourself, okay, well, we tried to go higher and couldn't, so we're going to go lower. And okay, we couldn't go lower, so we're going to go higher. But it's just hard to know where in the middle, you know, how far is it going to push up before it comes back down, before it goes back up, before it comes back down, before you're like, who knows, you know? You just know the destination. You don't know the path. Hence why I'm completely neutral and in need of more information. Support at the halfback right now that keeps the ticks above the zero line. So like they dip below the zero line. We then find support and it pushes them back above and holds them above. That could be a scenario worth considering a trade to repair the poor high. But other than that, I don't really see anything. Can the halfback become support? Question mark. So we're looking to see, can this little white line, can that hold the market up? Push those ticks back up there above the zero again? No, sir. No support. The chop continues. No trades till break of initial balance. Dun, dun. No trades till break of. No trades till break of. Falcon 1, this is Charlie 4. Over. Falcon 1 says, you think it's going to bounce around here and break out to the upside? Honestly, I don't have any idea. I don't have any clue. You got weakness on both sides of the market, and you're right in the middle of a balance area. I mean, it's just, I'm in a moment where I don't know. I got to have more information. So, like I said, for me, the next signal, I would have potentially considered that we would go higher if we had found support at the halfback, but we didn't. So now I need new information, A break of the initial balance will probably be it, right? In about 6 minutes, we're going to print the C period. And we do know, as just a regular daily auction, whichever direction we break the initial balance, that is the first hour's trade, whichever direction we break, we are likely to get continuation in that direction. So at that moment, I can start to look for, okay, if we break the initial balance high, do we get support? Can we get continuation? And I can do that dance. If we break the balance area low, I can say, do we get resistance and new sellers? And I can do that dance. But in the middle, I just got to wait. I see no edge. All right. Well, there's the printing of the C period. Excuse me. And we're right at the center of the range, right at the largest node of volume, right at the point of control. So this thing is literally giving us no clues. It's got a poor high and a weak low. It could go anywhere. So not much I can leave you with here today moving forward. As I said, the first potential signal will be the break of the initial bounce. Do they break the A period low or do they break the high? Whichever they break first, you can look for continuation in that direction. So if they break the high, look, can the bulls remain in charge? There's a lot of resistance they got to get through, so who knows what they get for it. But if they break the high, that's what they're trying to do. And same thing with the lows. Lots and lots of support in here. Market has continued to turn around, flip, and reverse when it got to this level. So if they break that low, they're trying to go lower, but we got to just kind of monitor and see what happens. With that, I bid you farewell. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to head on over to the private stream where the cool kids in the know like to hang out. Bye.